I want you to take a look around. Not at your phone, not at the road. Look at the plants growing beside the sidewalk, the insects flying through the grass, the birds sitting on the power lines around your house. Most of us spend our entire lives surrounded by nature without really knowing what's there. I was recently reminded of this while using a mobile app called iNaturalist. The idea with iNaturalist is pretty simple. You take a picture of a plant, animal, fungus, or insect and upload it, and the app helps identify what you found. Other users can then verify that identification and contribute additional information to it even. Just to be super clear here, I'm not affiliated with them in any way, I just use their application. But, that's beside the point. What started as simple curiosity quickly turned into much bigger things. One of the species I began noticing everywhere was actually Reed Canary Grass. At first glance, it doesn't seem particularly interesting. It's just tall grass growing in wetlands, ditches, and waterways. Most people would probably walk right past it without giving it a second thought. But once I started learning about it, I discovered that Reed Canary Grass has a significant impact on many ecosystems. In many parts of North America, it spreads aggressively and forms dense stands that crowd out native species. When a single species begins dominating an area, biodiversity can decrease, affecting insects, birds, and other wildlife that depend on a variety of native plants. But that's where things get interesting. Nature isn't a simple story. It's not a story of one species taking over. It's a story of relationships. And while exploring observations on iNaturalist, I learned about other species that are also connected to Reed Canary Grass, actually. The Reed Canary Grass burrower moth. This insect spends part of its life cycle feeding within the stems of Reed Canary Grass. Their larvae end up burrowing into the plant, using it as both food and shelter from predators. So, what can look like an ordinary patch of grass became something much more complex. The grass wasn't just a plant, it was habitat, it was food. It's part of a relationship between multiple species. And that's something I think many of us forget. Every organism around us is connected by countless others in ways we rarely notice. A plant supports an insect, that insect feeds a bird, that bird spreads seeds, the seeds become future habitat, the entire ecosystem becomes a web of interactions. When we learn about even a single species, we're often led to discover dozens more. That's why I think tools like iNaturalist are so valuable. They encourage curiosity. I don't need a biology degree. You don't need a biology degree. You don't need expensive equipment. You don't need to travel to a rainforest halfway around the world. You can start with the patch of grass growing beside your local walking trail. You can start with the insect sitting on a leaf in your backyard. You can start with the world that's already there with you. The more time I've spent identifying species and learning about their roles in the ecosystem, the more I've realized how much there is to discover in places I thought I already knew. Every observation becomes a new question. What is this? Why is it here? What depends on it? What does it depend on? And before long, you're no longer just looking at a plant or an insect. You're looking at a story. So the next time you're outside, slow down for a minute. Take a closer look at the insects, the birds, the fungi that are all around you. You might be surprised by how much life is happening right underneath your feet. And who knows, the next species might lead you down a rabbit hole that changes the way you see your local environment forever. Thank you for watching, and remember to stay curious.